Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to... Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mr. Stephen Has an Opinion. Today, I'm talking all about Age of Ultron, although it's UNESCO's International Jazz Day as well today. Jazz, of course, is the music of the saxophone. The saxophone was made by a guy called Adolf Sax, who hated mankind, but couldn't build an atom bomb. Anyway, let's have a logo. It's amazing how often I am referencing the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, personally, I think the films are great. It's what I have always wanted to see on the big screen. I mean, it's great that we don't just have the technology to make these films, but we have people who are invested in the stories, in the intellectual property enough to see them come to fruition in a way that pleases both the fans and people who are just coming fresh to the characters. I mean, you might not like all the Marvel films, but you'd be hard-pressed to find one that doesn't have its fans. I mean, even things like The Incredible Hulk has got a good fan base. They have done the complete opposite to what Universal have done with Seventh Son. I'll put the link to that at the end of the video. Sure, they changed the stories, but they do it with reverence to the originals. With this in mind, I went to see Age of Ultron last week, and I really enjoyed it. It didn't feel particularly long, although it's about 2 hours long. It's funny, it's scary, it's action-packed. It's everything that you'd want from a Marvel film, really. To be totally fair, and like I said, I don't want to do a whole review on the thing, it does pack an awful lot of story into it as well, and perhaps it feels a little bit bloated with so much going on with each character. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to keep up. There's actually talks about extended versions of it being released on DVD, although I'm always very sceptical when they say this is going to be in the DVD in future, because until it's actually released, you don't really know. So why does Age of Ultron in particular deserve a special place in a mention in a video? Well, the release date has been a little bit odd, and something's happened in Germany, and, well, it's all to do with how cinema works. Now, I love cinema, and it's something that I think that we need to do is keep those little local cinemas going. In Germany at the moment, there are 700-odd cinemas who have said that they are not going to show Age of Ultron. And they're saying this because Disney are trying to increase the amount of money that they want to charge cinemas, essentially, for it. Essentially, what happens when a cinema's released is that the box office takes the money that they get for the movie, and then a percentage of that goes off to the studio, and the cinema keeps the rest. Now, currently, the percentage that goes off to the studio for small cinemas is around about 47.7%. Disney wanted to increase that to 53%. The studios are obviously trying to get as much money as they can for something that they think is going to be the major film of the year for that particular studio. But people are boycotting, and it's these smaller cinema chains that are doing the boycotting. And I think that this is a time where actually we have to listen to them. The group actually said they would have been happy if they just raised it to 50%. But 53% was just eating into their profits far too much. And you can see why if you look at the way that cinemas are structured as a business. In general, films don't make money for cinemas. I know that seems strange. You've got this whole industry that is based on people going and sitting in a dark room and paying for a ticket to sit in a dark room, and that's not making the cinemas any money. What the film is what's called a loss leader. It's something that they put out knowing that they're going to lose a bit of money on it, because when people come in through the door, they're expected to buy confectionery and drinks and sweets and, in order to take into the cinema with them. This is why they don't want you to take your own confectionery into the cinema, because they actually get the bulk of their money through selling these sweets and hot dogs and things. So, purchasing snacks at your local cinema is actually doing more for it, probably, than actually going to see a film there in the first place. This is why big chains like Cineworld have got these unlimited cards that you can use now, which let you go and see as many films as you want for a small monthly fee. What they're banking on is that you will go and see more films. That means you'll go and buy more popcorn, you'll buy more hot dogs and drinks. And that's good for them, because the deals that they've worked out with the studios mean that they can do that, and they can still make a profit off the sweets and things. And they're getting more people in through the door. It's a really, really smart move. And of course, some would say that it's good for the customers. I mean, I have one of these cards, and I can go and see as many films as I want, whenever I want. It means that I get to see at least one film a week, if not 2 or 3, depending on how busy I am. And the cost of going to the cinema for me is already covered by the fact that I've paid for this card. So there you go. 2 things that you've learnt today. Disney are grabbing as much money as they can from Age of Ultron, and cinemas are really run as massive places where you go and buy sweets. And that leads me on to this last portion of this Age of Ultron jumble of speech. I've often wondered what it would be like to live in America and see all the big films as they were released. Instead of, I mean, in the UK, now we often get them at the same time. But in the past, we've had them sometimes weeks, sometimes months, in a couple of cases even years after their original release in the cinema in the US. Well, I don't need to wonder any longer, because whilst I went to see Age of Ultron last week, the film doesn't open in America until tomorrow. I have no idea why this is. I've tried to find out why online. I found out that Marvel sent a tweet at some point saying that it was going to happen. I couldn't find anything else out, and if anybody knows, I'd really love to find out myself. Just comment below, or Twitter or Facebook. The links are in the thingy down there. But it's nice to see a big release before the US has had a chance. One thing I have noticed, however, is this doesn't seem to have done the piracy things any harm at all, and I've seen more people talking about downloading illegal versions of Age of Ultron than I have any other film in the history of cinema. Perhaps illegal downloading is a topic that I should cover at a later video. For now, however, it's just really nice to see a film before the US. That's 3 times I've said that now. I mean, it sounds like I'm obsessed or something, but really, I'm not. I know this just sounds like a massive advert for Age of Ultron, but I do love these films, and I do love cinema, and the business behind cinema, and the way that it's constructed and the way that it's sold. It's something that really excites me. So when things like this happen, it's something that I want to tell the world about. Say, hey, look, did you know that this is happening over here? So if you've seen Age of Ultron, let me know what you think by leaving a comment below. If you are going to see it this weekend, I hope you have a really, really great time, and would love to hear what you think about it. If you work for Universal, go and see Age of Ultron. That's how to make a film with a pre-sold audience. That's my opinion anyway. You can let me know yours by leaving a comment below. You can also like, share, or subscribe to this channel. Find us on Facebook /BurntPapyrus. Or on Twitter @Steve_Mellor, @BurntPapyrus. Can you tell I've run out of speech there? Next week we are talking all about the general election as the UK votes for its latest housemate, government. It's so easy to get those mixed up.